AITA for leaving my fiancée at the altar after finding out she secretly met her ex? My name is Connor. I am 30 years old, and I live in San Diego, California. For a long time, I really thought I had life all figured out. I was about to marry Vanessa, my girlfriend of 3 years, and honestly, everything seemed to be going perfectly. She was beautiful, very sociable, and she lit up a room the moment she walked in. Everyone who met her would say things like, "Man, you are a lucky guy," and I believed them. Frankly, who would not have thought so? On paper, she seemed perfect. We had planned a big wedding. When I say big, I mean the whole 9 yards. A seaside venue, high-end catering, a live band, absolutely everything. We had it all. It was not cheap, but I thought it was worth it. You only get married once, right? Well, that is what I thought at the time. But about 1 week before the wedding, Vanessa started acting differently. At first, I did not pay much attention. Weddings are stressful, you know. Between the guest list, the decorations, the seating chart. Yes, it is a lot. But her behavior was not just stress, it was something else. She suddenly became very secretive with her phone, always turning it face down on the table, leaving the room to take calls. Initially, I said nothing because, frankly, I did not want to come off as a paranoid fiancé. That is not me. Then one evening, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I was not trying to snoop, but the screen lit up and a name popped up. Marcus. For a second, I thought, who is this Marcus? And then it hit me. It was her ex. Yes, that Marcus, the one she swore she had cut out of her life for good a long time ago. The message was short. It just said, "Looking forward to tonight," and that was it. I admit, I felt my stomach twist into a knot. Why was she making plans with her ex just days before our wedding? But I told myself not to jump to conclusions. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe she was helping him with something. Vanessa was always the type to help people. So, I decided to ask her about it. Later that evening, after she got out of the shower and we were getting ready for bed, I said, "Hey, Marcus texted you earlier. What was that about?" She did not even blink. "Oh, Marcus. Yeah, he is going through a tough time. I was just checking in on him. It is nothing." She said it so casually, as if it were the most normal thing in the world, and maybe it was. But something in the way she answered did not sit right with me. I did not press the issue. I decided to let it go for the moment. But after that, things started to add up. She would tell me she was meeting her maid of honor, Allison, to sort out wedding details, without ever going into specifics. She would get really defensive if I asked too many questions, saying I was stressing her out or making things unnecessarily complicated. And I admit, I started to wonder if I was overreacting. Was I becoming that guy? The one who turns everything into a problem? I did not want to be that guy. Still, the phone thing kept bothering me, and it was not just Marcus. She was getting a lot of messages, and each time, she would immediately hide her phone or pretend she had not heard anything. Once, I even joked, "What? You got a secret admirer or something?" She laughed, but the way she avoided my gaze stuck with me. Then came the night that really changed everything. Vanessa told me she was meeting her maid of honor, Allison, at a local coffee shop to finalize some wedding details. It seemed normal. I did not suspect a thing. I stayed home, watched some TV, and was just about to head to bed when my best man, Derek, called. "Hey Connor, you busy?" he asked, hesitating. "No, what is up?" I replied, a bit surprised. He paused. "Look, man, I do not know if I should be telling you this, but I am at the Harbor Pub, and I just saw Vanessa." "Okay," I said, not understanding the problem. "She is not with Allison," he said slowly. "She is with some guy, and I am pretty sure it is Marcus." That got my immediate attention. Marcus? Her ex Marcus? Yeah, man. They are in a booth in the back. And honestly, it does not look like they are discussing centerpieces, if you know what I mean. For a moment, I did not even know what to say. Vanessa was at a bar with her ex when she told me she was seeing her friend. What was going on? Derek must have sensed my silence because he added, "Sorry, man. I just thought you should know. I can send you a picture if you want." I told him to send it. When I received it, my heart sank. There she was, sitting way too close to Marcus, her hand on his arm, laughing as if nothing else mattered. I thanked him and hung up. After Derek's call, I could not get that image out of my head. Vanessa and Marcus, sitting in that booth, too close, too comfortable. It clearly was not just a friendly catch-up. We both knew it. I stayed up most of the night trying to figure out what to do. Part of me wanted to storm into the bar right then, but I knew that was not the right move. I needed to see the situation clearly, without letting my emotions take over. The next day, Vanessa acted as if nothing had happened. She was in a good mood, humming a song while making coffee in the kitchen, as if she had not spent the previous evening getting cozy with her ex. "Morning, love," she said with the same bright smile that used to make me melt. Now, that smile just made me question everything. I played along. "Morning. So, how did your meeting with Allison go?" She did not even hesitate. "Oh, great. We sorted out some final details for the seating chart. Honestly, she is a lifesaver." She took a sip of her coffee and started scrolling through her phone as if it were any other day. That is when I realized it. She was an incredibly good liar. The way she spoke, the way she moved, everything seemed natural, confident. If Derek had not called me, I would have believed every word, and that is what angered me the most. I did not push it right away. I wanted to see how far she would take the lie. "You guys stayed at the coffee shop the whole time? Seemed like you got home late." "Oh yeah," she replied calmly. "We were there for a while, then I dropped her off at her place. It was a long night." "A long night," I repeated, nodding and biting my tongue to keep from saying something I would regret. Later that day, I called Derek for more details. "What else did you see? Did they leave together?" I asked, trying to stay calm. "Nah, man, they were still there when I left," he answered. "But they looked really comfortable. If you did not know she was engaged, you would have thought they were a couple." That stung. I thanked him and hung up, my mind racing. I could not let this go, but I did not want to act too quickly either. That evening, Vanessa told me she was going out again. Another wedding errand with Allison. This time, I was not going to let it slide. "Okay," I said, trying to sound casual. "Where are you two meeting?" "At her place," she replied quickly, grabbing her bag. Something in her response set off an alarm. "All right, tell her I said hi." She gave me a quick kiss on the cheek and left. As soon as the door closed, I grabbed my keys and called Derek. "I am going to the Harbor Pub," I told him. "Dude, are you sure? What if she is not even there this time?" "I need to know," I replied. I parked a block away from the bar and walked in, trying to stay composed. The place was packed with the usual mix of college students and locals. It took me a minute to spot her, but there she was, again in the same booth in the back with Marcus. This time, they looked even more comfortable. She was leaning in close, laughing at something he had just said. Her hand was resting on his. My stomach turned. This was clearly not an innocent conversation. I did not confront them right then. They were in their own little world, completely cut off from everyone around them. It was as if I did not even exist. At one point, Marcus leaned in to whisper something in her ear, which made her laugh before she gave him a playful tap on the shoulder. I clenched my fist under the counter, trying to control myself. I stood there for about 20 minutes until I could not take it anymore. I left without a word. I drove home and just sat in my car for what felt like hours. What was I supposed to do? We were getting married in a few days. How do you handle something like this? When Vanessa got home, I had calmed down enough to pretend nothing was wrong. She walked in, all smiles, and said, "By the way, Allison says hi." I nodded without really looking up from my phone. "Oh, cool. You guys managed to get everything sorted." "Yep," she replied, taking off her shoes. "Just a couple more things to finalize, and we are good to go." I could not believe how easily she lied. Not a hint of hesitation. That night, I barely slept again. I kept replaying the scene from the bar in my head, trying to understand how she could have betrayed my trust like this. The next morning, I decided I could not keep it to myself any longer. I called Derek and told him everything. "Man, you have to talk to her," he said. "You cannot let this slide. If she is doing this now, what is going to happen once you are married?" He was right, but I was not ready to confront her just yet. I needed more information, more proof. So, I decided to wait and see what she would do next. Over the next few days, Vanessa kept up her act. She smiled, laughed, and talked about the wedding as if everything was perfectly fine. But every time her phone buzzed, I felt my blood boil. I knew Marcus was still in the picture, and I knew she was not telling me the truth. By the time the rehearsal dinner arrived, I was barely holding it together. Vanessa's family was all smiles, talking about how excited they were for the big day. On my side, my family could tell something was off. At one point, my mom pulled me aside. "Are you okay? You seem distant." "I am fine," I lied. But in reality, I was not fine at all. I was furious, and I knew I could not go on like this. At this point, I was done sitting around watching her play me for a fool. I was tired of the fake smiles, the lies, and her acting like everything was fine when I knew it was not. I am not an idiot. I could see exactly what was happening, and now it was time for her to understand that I was not someone you could just walk all over. The morning after the rehearsal dinner, I woke up knowing this would be the day I finally said something. I could not hold it in anymore. She was still in bed when I got up, scrolling through her phone as if she did not have a care in the world. I watched her for a moment, wondering if she felt any guilt at all for sneaking around behind my back with her ex. Did she think I would never find out, or did she believe I would forgive her no matter what? Either way, she was about to find out how wrong she was. "Hey," I said in a calm voice. "We need to talk." She looked up, a little surprised but not worried. "Okay, what is up?" I sat across from her, holding her gaze. "Where were you the other night? And do not tell me you were with Allison, because we both know that is not true." Her face froze for a split second before she forced a smile. "What are you talking about?" "I told you. I was with Allison, working on the wedding." I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. "Cut the act, Vanessa. Derek saw you with Marcus." Her mouth fell open, and I saw panic flash in her eyes. "What? That is not true," she stammered. "Derek must have been mistaken." "Do not lie to me," I replied firmly. "He was not mistaken. He even sent me a picture. You were sitting in a booth with Marcus, laughing, touching his arm. So tell me, what is going on?" She was silent for a moment, as if searching for an excuse. Finally, she sighed. "Okay, fine. Yes, I saw Marcus. But it is not what you think." "Not what I think," I repeated, raising an eyebrow. "You are sneaking around to see your ex, lying to me about where you are going. You are spending time with him at a bar instead of planning our wedding. So tell me, Vanessa, what is it exactly?" She started to cry, which I knew was her go-to move whenever she got caught. "Connor, it is not like that," she said, her voice trembling. "Marcus reached out to me a while ago. He is going through a tough time, and he just needed someone to talk to. I did not want to tell you because I knew you would overreact." "Overreact?" I shot back, my voice rising. "You are seeing your ex days before our wedding. You are lying to me about it, and you think I am overreacting?" Her tears were flowing now, and she tried to take my hand. "Please, Connor, you have to believe me. I love you. I do not have feelings for Marcus. I was just trying to help him." I pulled my hand away, shaking my head. "You do not lie to someone you love, Vanessa. And you certainly do not see your ex behind their back. Do you hear yourself?" She started to panic, realizing I was not buying her excuses. "Connor, please. It was a mistake, okay? I should not have seen him, but it did not mean anything. I swear." I stood up, unable to sit and listen to her try to spin this anymore. "You do not meet someone by mistake multiple times, Vanessa. This was not a mistake, it was a choice. And honestly, your priorities are crystal clear." She stood up too, trying to block my way out. "Wait, please, do not leave. We can fix this. I will stop talking to him. I will block his number. Just do not give up on us." I stopped for a moment, looking at her. Part of me wanted to believe her, to think it was just a stupid mistake made in a moment of weakness. But the other part of me, the part that had watched her lie straight to my face for weeks, knew better. "How long has this been going on?" I asked in a calmer voice. She hesitated, and that gave me all the answer I needed. "A few weeks," she finally admitted. "But it was nothing serious. We were just talking, I swear." I let out a bitter laugh. "Do you hear yourself? You are supposed to be marrying me. You are seeing your ex behind my back, and you think I should just believe it is no big deal." "It was not like that," she insisted, desperate now. "I made a mistake, okay, but it is you I want to be with. Please, do not let this ruin everything." I shook my head, walking past her toward the door. "Vanessa, you already ruined everything. I do not even know who you are anymore." I walked out, slamming the door behind me, and got in my car. I did not know where I was going, but I needed to get away and clear my head. When I finally pulled over, I called Derek and told him what had just happened. "Man," she admitted it, I said, my voice shaking with anger. "She has been secretly meeting him for weeks." "Connor, I am so sorry, man," Derek replied. "What are you going to do?" I took a deep breath, trying to calm down. "I do not know yet, but I cannot let this go. There is no way I am marrying her now. Derek was quiet for a moment before saying, "Look, whatever you decide, just know I have got your back. You do not deserve this, man." Hearing him say that helped, but it did not make the situation any easier. I knew I had some tough decisions to make, and I knew the fallout was going to be messy. But one thing was clear. I was not going to let Vanessa or Marcus make a fool out of me. I spent the rest of the day driving around aimlessly, trying to process everything. Vanessa was not just lying to me. She was living a completely different life behind my back. And the worst part was, she had the nerve to keep pretending everything was fine, like we were still this perfect couple everyone admired. When I finally got back to the apartment, she was not there. Good. The wedding was just 2 days away, and I knew I had to make a decision. Did I go through with it, hoping this was just a stupid mistake, or did I call the whole thing off and deal with the damage? The problem is, canceling a wedding is not just about two people. There are guests, families, the money already spent. It was like an avalanche waiting to happen. But as much as the thought of disappointing everyone hurt, the idea of marrying someone who did not respect me was even more repulsive. That night, Vanessa came home late, as usual. I was sitting on the couch, staring at the black TV screen when she walked in. She looked surprised to see me still awake. "Hey," she said with a forced smile. "You are up late." "Yeah," I replied without looking at her. "Cannot sleep." She paused, likely sensing the tension in the room. "Look, about earlier," she started. "Save it, Vanessa," I cut her off. "I do not want to talk about it right now." My voice was quiet but firm. I had no desire to hear another round of excuses. She stood there for a moment, sighed, and then went to the bedroom. I stayed on the couch, sitting in the dark, wondering how the person I thought I was going to spend my life with could have crossed such serious boundaries. It was not even just about Marcus anymore. It was about trust. And once that is gone, what is left? The next morning, Vanessa acted as if nothing was wrong. She came out of the bedroom, already dressed, ready to tackle another day of wedding prep. She poured herself some coffee and started scrolling through her phone, completely ignoring the massive issue between us. "So, what is the plan for today?" I asked, trying to sound casual. I wanted to see if she would at least try to tell me the truth. She looked up, surprised. "Oh, just some last-minute stuff with Allison," she said quickly. "We are going to pick up the centerpieces and make sure the venue is set up how we want it." I nodded, pretending to believe her. "Sounds important. Need any help?" She gave a nervous laugh. No, we have got it. You just relax and get ready for the big day." She planted a quick kiss on my cheek before grabbing her bag and heading out. The moment the door closed, I felt a mix of anger and relief. Anger because she was still lying to my face, and relief because I would not have to deal with her for a few hours. Derek called me. "So, man, what is your plan?" I paused, looking out the window. "I do not know yet, but I am not letting her get away with this. She really thinks she can walk all over me, and I will still marry her. She is in for a big surprise." Derek laughed. "Now that is the Connor I know. Let me know if you need backup." After we hung up, I spent the rest of the day thinking about the best way to handle this. Part of me wanted to confront her in front of everyone on the wedding day, expose her lies, and make her feel the humiliation she deserved. This was not just about her anymore. This was about me taking back control of my life and refusing to settle for less than I deserved. When Vanessa got home that evening, she was still all smiles. "Everything is coming together perfectly," she said, dropping her bag on the counter. "I think this is going to be the best day of our lives." I forced a smile. "That is great," I replied. "I'm glad everything is going well." She came over and wrapped her arms around me, resting her head on my chest. "I love you, Connor. I know things have been stressful lately, but I want you to know how much I appreciate you." The words sounded hollow, as if she was trying to convince herself as much as she was trying to convince me. I said nothing. I just stood there until she let go and went to take a shower. Sitting there alone, I realized something. I did not love her anymore. Or maybe I did, but not like before. The trust was gone, and without it, what was left? A pretty face and a mountain of broken promises. That was not enough for me. The night before the wedding, Vanessa was in the bedroom, probably dreaming of her walk down the aisle, while I was on the couch, planning what I was going to do the next day. I knew I could not marry her, but I also knew I had to make my decision impossible to ignore. By morning, I was strangely calm. I was not nervous or angry anymore. I was ready to stand up for myself, ready to end this charade. and ready to walk away from someone who did not deserve me. Vanessa was buzzing with excitement as we got ready to head to the venue. "Can you believe it? In a few hours, we will be husband and wife," she said, beaming. I forced another smile. "Yeah, hard to believe." She did not notice the edge in my voice, too absorbed in her own little world, and that was fine with me. She would find out soon enough. I played the part, responding when I had to, nodding when her dad gave me the "do not mess this up" look, shaking hands as guests arrived. I was on autopilot. Inside, I was just waiting for the right moment. When I walked into the ceremony space, the setup was breathtaking. Perfectly aligned white chairs, flowers everywhere, and the ocean as a backdrop. It looked like something out of a magazine. It should have been a special moment, but all I could think about was how much money I had thrown down the drain. Guests were settling in, chatting and laughing, completely unaware of the disaster that was about to unfold. My groomsmen were in place, looking sharp in their suits. Derek gave me a nod, silently asking if I was okay. I nodded back. No turning back now. Vanessa's family was smiling at everyone, talking excitedly about the big moment. It made me sick. Her dad even came up and clapped me on the shoulder. "Ready to officially join the family, son?" I forced a smile. "Absolutely," I said, though the words tasted like ash in my mouth. The music started, and everyone sat down. Vanessa's bridesmaids walked up the aisle like something out of a romantic movie. I barely noticed them. I was too focused on what I was about to do. My heart was not racing. My hands were not shaking. I was calm, ready. Then the music changed to the bridal march, and everyone stood. Vanessa appeared at the end of the aisle, her arm linked with her father's. All I saw was someone who had broken my trust, a person who had no problem secretly meeting her ex behind my back while I was planning our future. Her appearance was just a mask hiding the person I now knew she was. She reached the altar, standing across from me with that wide, brilliant smile. Her father shook my hand firmly and whispered, "Take good care of her." I just nodded, too focused on what was coming next. The officiant began his speech, talking about love, commitment, and the sanctity of marriage. I barely heard a word. I was waiting for my moment. He turned to me and asked the first question. "Connor, do you take Vanessa to be your lawfully wedded wife?" I took a deep breath, looking Vanessa straight in the eye. Her smile faltered slightly when she saw my expression. "I am sorry," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "but I cannot do this." A wave of shock rippled through the guests. Murmurs broke out, and Vanessa's smile vanished completely. What are you doing?" she whispered, her voice trembling. I ignored her and turned to the guests. "I have to be honest with all of you," I declared in a firm voice. Vanessa has not been honest with me. For weeks, she has been secretly meeting her ex, Marcus, behind my back. She lied to me, she lied to her friends, and she has been lying to all of you. The murmurs grew louder. Vanessa's mother looked like she was about to faint, while her father's face turned beet red. The bridesmaids exchanged shocked glances, and my groomsmen stood frozen in place. Derek, however, looked proud, as if he had been waiting for this moment almost as much as I had. Vanessa grabbed my arm, her eyes wide and filling with tears. "Connor, stop. Please, do not do this. You are making a mistake." I pulled my arm away, looking at her as if she were a complete stranger. "No, Vanessa, you are the one who made the mistake. You made it the moment you decided to see Marcus behind my back. You made it every time you lied to my face. I deserve better than this." She started to cry, sobbing uncontrollably now, but it did not affect me. The crowd was completely silent, every eye fixed on us. It was like they could not believe what they were seeing. "Connor, please," she begged, her voice breaking. "I love you. I will fix this. Do not leave me." I shook my head. Love is not sneaking around with your ex. Love is not lying to the person you are supposed to spend your life with. If that is your idea of love, I do not want it. She tried to grab my arm again, but I stepped back. "You can cry all you want, Vanessa, but this is over. I am done." I turned to the officiant, who looked like he wanted to disappear. "Sorry to have wasted your time," I said before walking back down the aisle, past the stunned crowd. I did not look back. I did not need to. The damage was done. Walking out of the venue, I felt a strange sense of relief. Yes, I was leaving a huge, very expensive mess behind, but it was worth it. I had dodged a bullet, and I knew it. If she was capable of lying to me before we were even married, what would she have done afterward? When I got to my car, I sat for a moment, letting it all sink in. My phone was blowing up, texts and calls from Vanessa, her mom, and even some of the bridesmaids. I ignored them all. I did not owe anyone an explanation. I had said what I needed to say. Derek was the first one I called back. "Dude, that was epic," he said, laughing. "You good?" "Yeah," I replied, finally letting myself smile. "Better than I have been in weeks. Want me to come over with some beers? I think you have earned it." "Yeah, man. See you in a bit." Driving away from the wedding venue, I felt lighter, as if a massive weight had been lifted from my shoulders. Sure, I had just blown up what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, but it was still better than living a lie. Vanessa would have to deal with the consequences of her actions, and I could start over, knowing I had made the right choice. When I got home, Derek showed up about 20 minutes later, a case of beer in hand. "Man," he said as he walked in, "that was insane. You really called it off in front of everyone." I nodded, slumping onto the couch. "I had to. She left me no choice." Derek opened a can and handed it to me. You should have seen their faces. Her dad looked like he was ready to charge the altar, and her bridesmaids were whispering to each other like it was a reality show. I managed a small smile. "Good. Let them talk. She earned it." The voicemails were exactly what I expected. Vanessa's voice was shaky and desperate, alternating between apologies and justifications. "Connor, please call me back. We can fix this. I know I messed up, but we can get through this." Her mother's message was much more aggressive. "Connor, how dare you humiliate my daughter like that? Could not you have handled this privately? You owe her an apology." I rolled my eyes and deleted the messages without even finishing them. I did not owe anyone an apology. If anyone owed one, it was Vanessa for wasting my time, for lying, for thinking she could get away with it. A few days passed, and the fallout started to spread. The news traveled fast, especially after Derek shared the photo of Vanessa and Marcus at the bar with a few mutual friends. I had not asked him to do it, but I did not mind either. People deserved to know the truth, especially after Vanessa's mom started telling everyone that I was the villain in the story. Apparently, according to Vanessa's version, I had cracked under the pressure of the wedding and left her at the altar because I could not handle the stress. It annoyed me, but I did not have to say much to set the record straight. The picture of her with Marcus spoke for itself. Once people saw that, her excuses fell apart. One of her bridesmaids, Amanda, even reached out to me. "Connor, I am so sorry," she said over the phone. "I had no idea she was doing that to you. If I had known, I would have said something." "It is okay," I replied, not really wanting to get into it. "I am just glad it is over." But Amanda added, "Honestly, Vanessa had been acting weird for weeks. Allison and I noticed she would disappear a lot during planning, but she always said it was for personal errands. I feel bad for not asking more questions." "Do not feel bad. It is not your fault," I said, and I meant it. I was not going to waste my time being angry at anyone but Vanessa. As for Marcus, his involvement did not last long. Apparently, after the wedding fiasco, Vanessa tried to turn to him for support. Big surprise. But he was not interested. He was all smiles and charm when they were sneaking around, but as soon as things got real, he ghosted her. A mutual friend told me he blocked her on social media and stopped answering her calls. Classy. Vanessa tried to contact me again, this time through text. Her messages were full of conflicting emotions, apologies, accusations, and desperate pleas. One message read, "I am so sorry, Connor. I know I messed up, but I love you and I want to fix things." The next one would say, "You are so unfair. Everyone thinks I am a monster now because of you." I ignored them all. What was the point? She was not sorry she had crossed those boundaries. She was sorry she got caught. Big difference. A week after the wedding, she showed up at my apartment unannounced. I was not surprised. It was exactly the kind of thing she would do. I opened the door, and there she was, looking like a wreck. Her hair was in a messy bun, and her eyes were puffy, as if she had been crying for hours. "Connor, please," she whispered. "Can we just—" I leaned against the doorframe, my arms crossed. "What do you want, Vanessa?" She hesitated, as if she did not know where to begin. I just wanted to say I am sorry. I know I hurt you. I know I ruined everything, but I want to make it right." I stared at her without saying a word, letting her squirm in her discomfort. I will do whatever it takes, she continued, her voice breaking. I will block Marcus. I will go to therapy. I will do anything. Just give me one more chance. I slowly shook my head. Vanessa, you still do not get it. This is not about blocking Marcus or going to therapy. This is about trust. And you destroyed it. There is no coming back from that. She just stood there, silent, as her tears fell harder. I felt a small pang of pity, but not enough to change my mind. Go home, Vanessa, I said, stepping back into the apartment. And do not come back. Before she could say anything else, I closed the door and locked it. As the weeks went on, her attempts to contact me slowed down, and then they stopped altogether. The truth had gotten out, and people started to distance themselves from her. Even her closest friends eventually saw her for who she really was. Looking back, I have absolutely no regrets. Walking away from Vanessa was the best decision I ever made. She showed me exactly who she was, and I believed her. If there is one thing I have learned, it is to never settle for less than you deserve. Life is too short for that. And Vanessa, from what I last heard, is still single. Marcus did not stick around, and her friends no longer trust her. As for me, I am just happy I am gone. Comment. Hey everyone, I wanted to share a few thoughts after this story. Watching someone walk away like that really makes you think about how important your self-respect is. I believe we all deserve relationships where our boundaries are honored, not crossed. It is not easy, but choosing peace for yourself is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. Taking responsibility for your happiness instead of waiting for someone else to fix things can change everything. Healing takes time, and that is okay. Be kind to yourself through the process. I hope this encourages you to reflect on what you truly deserve in life. Never be afraid to choose yourself when it matters most. Remember, real love and respect start with how we treat ourselves first. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.